Hi guys, Will Terry here, and on this video we are going to talk about how you can spend more time making art and less time marketing and offload that marketing onto someone else. Before I get going on that, little housekeeping here. I just want to say that this video is part of a video playlist that I created called How to Invent a Money-Making Art Project. It is the story of me creating a book called Pickleball Paul. And guess what, you guys, as an update, I got a copy from Amazon. So for those of you who are trying to figure out or who don't know what I'm doing and haven't been following along, this how to invent a money-making art project is all about this book right here, which is finally done. I wrote and illustrated it. And this is my first copy off of Amazon. Now, I am not posting this on social media yet. And the reason is because I printed 5,000 hardcover books that are coming out of China, and I should be getting them in the 1st of March, middle of March. And most of my sales, I'm going to be pushing the hardback book. I put this on Amazon for the sole purpose of being able to satisfy people who live in other countries, because this is print on demand on Amazon, also Kindle version. And I wanted my international people to be able to get the book without having to pay the exorbitant shipping costs. So the cool thing about Amazon KDP, they have printers in just about every country or in every region in the world, so that they can offer prime shipping to most places. And your book is printed overseas instead of printed here. So even in the United States, if I order a book, I'm going to get it out of Las Vegas, where someone on the East Coast is going to get it printed on the East Coast. So different printers, but the same book. And it's actually really nice, just to kind of go through this before we get going on the topic. It's exactly kind of what I would have thought a soft cover should look like. Yeah, so the price is a lot lower than the hardback. So this was all part of the marketing plan, is to offer a soft cover for less. There might be some people who don't want to spend for a hardcover. They want the book and they want to get it for their kid, but they're only wanting to pay the soft cover price. And so there it is. There you go. Okay, so for this topic, I'm talking about marketing my book. I'm going to have a complete video on like all the things I'm doing. I have a huge list of plans for marketing this book. But one major one, is that I don't want to do a lot of the direct sales. Okay, and I don't want to call racket shops that sell pickleball equipment, or even there are some specific pickleball shops in the country. I don't want to be on the phone. I don't want to be sending them books saying, hey, here's a wholesale price for these books. I want to find someone else that can do that. Also, if you've been following me for a while on my YouTube channel, you know that I worked on the Little Heroes project with Wayne, and it's always better to have someone doing the jobs that you don't want to do, rather than doing them all yourself. We got into this because we're artists, illustrators, and we would rather spend our time making artwork, right? I mean, like, the marketing side is not what we got into this for. If we did, we would have gone into school for marketing. So there are people that do these tasks better than us, more enthusiastic than us, more capably than we do, and it's good to work with those guys. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about Little Heroes first. So I've been doing this for a while, where I partner with someone. So Wayne, the guy that I partnered with on Little Heroes, he did all the heavy lifting as far as shipping, as far like online orders, running the website. He did, he housed all the equipment for when we did shows. I went to maybe 4 or 5 shows a year. He, at the height of that, was doing 20 shows a year. So we had a split worked out. He was not my employee. We partnered in that we were both running our own separate businesses, and we had agreed on percentage cuts on, when he would go to a show by himself, he would make more money than when I showed up and ran it with him. Then he would make less money. So there's an incentive for him to take it on the road on his own, and that's really good. you've got to always think about the incentives when you're trying to partner with someone and making the deal really attractive to them without undercutting yourself too much. It needs to be mutually beneficial, right? Symbiotic. And so that was Wayne, and that project is kind of winding down now, as we're not really doing shows anymore, but we do still have online sales there. And then, of course, many of you know that I partnered with Jake Parker and Lee White on svslearn.com. The reason for that was I didn't want to run a school all by myself. There's so many things that need to be done that other people you can share the load. And, while I'm working on one thing, another guy can be working on another, and yet another can be working on another. And then, as that grew, we ended up hiring. At one point, we had, I think, 9 or 10 employees, and that's about where we are right now. And so now we have hired people now. So with that business, we have hired people. I'm not talking about that for this business. I'm talking about partnering with someone that is enthusiastic to do your marketing, that will make a percentage. Now, if we were all rich, the way to work with someone on your business is not to partner with them. People that are poor pay in percentage, okay? So, and you might be rich in one area, you might have a lot of money, but you don't want to spend a lot of money on your business. You might want to grow it more organically, and you might be willing to give up a percentage. But just know that in the long run, if your business is successful, you'll almost always pay more when you pay in a percentage. Doesn't mean it's not worth it, but it's just something to think about. If you can afford to hire someone that is very capable and that you are fairly confident will do the job that you want them to do, then paying for their services is off, and retaining the ownership, it's better for you in that you maintain control. You can generally make more money the more percentage of your company that you own, right? But sometimes it's very beneficial to partner with someone. And in this case, with sales especially, I would say, and I'm going to talk about Pickleball Paul again. So now we're talking about this project. I pretty much lucked into finding a guy named Bill Knopp. And the first time I think I met Bill was at church. And then, he ended up living just like a few blocks away from me. So that was kind of serendipity as well. And then we met again on the pickleball courts, and I'm like, oh, and he's like way into pickleball. Then I come to find out he knows everybody in pickleball. He knows all the top players, the pros. His wife babysits for Tyson McGuffin, which is not going to mean anything to most of you guys, but anybody out there who plays pickleball knows he's on the top of the pro tour right now. Now pickleball is still small compared to tennis, but there still is a pro tour, and he knows all those guys. He knows all the paddle manufacturers. He knows guys because he's been selling a therapy tool or different therapy tools at all of these tournaments. And so just like comic conventions, the tournaments have like rows and rows of vendors, and the bigger tournaments have really expensive booth space, just like comic conventions. In fact, some are more expensive than comic conventions. They have thousands of people that are flooding through there and looking to buy stuff and checking out all the vendor spaces and stuff. And so Bill has been going to those shows for many years and knows everybody. And so it was like a perfect match. Now, Bill wasn't the reason for the idea for this book, and I talked about how I got the idea to do this book in the video. Something about I found the idea for my next book in the hot tub. So that's also in this playlist. But anyway, so when I decided to do this book, I approached Bill and I said, hey, I've got this book that I'm working on. As soon as I started talking to him, he was so excited because he could just see it. Now, he's been in sales his whole life. He used to sell in the hospitality industry. He sold in many other industries. So he's been a salesman his whole life. Luckily, I caught him right. He is retired right now, but he loves to go out and earn extra money. And he's a young 70-something-year-old guy. And that's what he loves doing. He loves going to these tournaments. He loves running a booth. And so I did really luck into finding the perfect guy for this. Now, he is going to be handling all the sales to retail shops. There's a bunch of websites that have retail products for pickleball. He's going to approach them. He's already actually made some deals with some of them. He's going to try to, and this is a thing that we're going to try to do, is you'll notice, well, on this one, it's a soft cover, so there's no dust jacket. But on the hard cover, I also did not print a dust jacket to save money. But what our plan is, and what he's going to try to do is, if there are camps for kids or certain tournaments that give away swag bags and stuff, we're going to tell, he's going to approach them with his connections and say, look, if you would like to get the hardcover with a personalized dust jacket for this tournament or for this camp, we'll put, sponsored by with a logo up there on the dust jacket, which will wrap around the hardback. And I can print those color copies if they're, 50 to 100. If they were, 500 or more, then I would do offset printing and charge a little extra for that. But I did want to talk a little bit about the deal that I'm working with him on, to kind of give you guys an idea of how I'm structuring that the deal with him. And then I forgot to mention also that after this video, I'm going to answer a couple of questions that were left in the comment section on some past videos. And by the way, if you guys have any questions about this project, if you have any ideas you think that I'm missing, someone actually found a typo in the book, which is great because I had it edited and looked after, and we still missed an extra word in there, and so too bad for me. But anyway, we'll fix that on the next, if there's another printing, we'll fix it on that. I can upload a new file on Amazon to fix that as well, and I'll definitely do that. So yeah, if you have questions, put them in the comment section. I copy them, I paste them into a Google Doc, and then I'll try to answer them in subsequent videos. But the deal that I'm worked out with Bill is to keep him as a private contractor, so that I don't have an employee on my payroll for tax purposes, and it would create all kinds of extra, extra work. And anyway, I worked out a wholesale price on the books. And, for those who don't know what wholesale is, that's what retailers buy a product for, and then they sell it retail. So what my plan is Bill will have his own customer code, or that he can give out, a coupon code, right, for 10% off of the website. So if he makes web orders, there will be a partition on our website, which we're building right now, that will allow wholesalers to buy. They'll have to buy, I think, a minimum of 20 books or 25 books or something like that. We have to see what comes in a case, and then if they're willing to buy that many, they'll get it at essentially 40% off. So they'll be able to buy books at 40% off and mark them up to the full 100%. That's what I have found to be pretty standard in the industry. Some retailers will try to negotiate for 50%, which we may entertain if the order's large enough. And then so on that, when I sell books wholesale, Bill will get a certain dollar amount per book that's sold. So if he made a deal, let's say with a paddle shop, and they bought a case of books, he would get a dollar amount. I guess I already spilled it. He's going to get $4 a book, and then that's where we figured the incentive would be high enough to where he would be able to feel like he's getting compensated enough on those sales. Now, when he goes to a tournament to sell, he has the option to buy from me either on consignment, which he'll get the worst price for him. He'll actually owe me the largest amount of money when he sells a book on consignment. If he buys a case of books at a time, he gets a much better price per book and then if he buys 10 cases at a time, he can get the best price. So it's just up to him on, how much how he wants to do that. And now there might be some contingency that we have to make because he travels to he travels to conventions, and so I'll have to probably either cash books in another state. He's constantly through the Western United States, so Utah, he's got friends in Utah, so we might cash some books there, which I might drive up because my kids live in Utah, and I have a truck, and so we might cash some books up there for him where he can go and refill because he's got an RV that he travels the country with his wife, and they go to tournament after tournament and set up their easy up and their tables and sell product, and so we've got that. And so he will have a coupon code that will offer for 10% off, and then he'll get his commission for each book sold, either on consignment, or if he just buys books from me, then I just get the money, where he's basically buying wholesale from me and selling books. And so that's kind of how we have it worked out, where it's separate, where he'll do his own taxes, I'll do my own taxes, but he will handle basically all the sales. Now, one thing that I did is, if you've been following this video series, is the guy that gave me the idea for this book is also very connected in the pickleball community, and he got me a deal with a major online retailer, and said, yeah, they definitely want to carry your book. Well, Bill also knew that same retailer, and so he came to me and he said, hey, I think I got a deal where I'll be able to get him into this, which is the same retailer. Now I was at a crossroads there, because I could have said, you know what, Bill, that's mine, because I already got that from Paul, from this other guy. But I talked to my wife and I said, what we decided on was, let's go ahead and treat him as our sole rep, and respect him, and not undercut him, and let him know that we're there for him. Now, people can buy my book they'll be able to buy my book on my website. When I send people there, when I post it on Facebook, which right now you guys are the only ones that know about this book, because I haven't been posting about it on Facebook. I've been posting these videos, but I haven't shown any of the artwork on Facebook or on Instagram or anywhere else, or haven't sent out any emails yet. When I do, those sales, they will not have his code. Those will come directly to me. I'll be taken care of there, and I don't need to be greedy. And what I don't want to do is de-incentivize him to make him feel like we're competing. The fact that he knew the same people at that retailer, I really wanted him to go, you know what, that's yours. And I told him that. I said, you can have that. I support you, and I just want this to be something that you do. And what my goal is to take over his booth with these kinds of sales. Working on book 2 already right now. Have plans for 5 books in the series, which series are always easier to sell, because in each subsequent book you can point to the previous one and future ones, and so series tend to help sell the rest of the book in the series. If somebody finds one in the middle and they like it and they find out there's more, they'll often go and want to have the whole set, especially if their kid likes it, right? So that's basically the plan, and that is how I'm going to spend more time making art than just doing marketing and sales, is because I've got a guy out there who's hungry to make sales and to take this product line. I think I mentioned before, we're working on a card game for it, and I've got the poster, which I'll talk about in another video, and the puzzle. And so, and with the other books, what I'm hoping to do is to create a whole line of products for these events. These, finding a niche like this is something that you should definitely be doing and looking for. This is a market of people who are crazy to buy stuff in this market. And if you have a product that's specific, you go. I've been to. I've actually played my first tournament in pickleball last week, and lost pretty good, but we almost won our second match. But walking around through the vendor section, I'm like, they have a lot of boring stuff. They have shoes, paddles, T-shirts, all the standard stuff. Then they got the insurance guy that you don't care about, the water softener guy that you don't care about, that you're trying to avoid, and then there's the therapy tools and stuff. But there's no toys. There's no gifts really, like gift items and stuff. And so that's what I'm hoping to do, is create a line of products that will satisfy the wife or husband who's not playing, who's kind of forced to be there all day, and who's wandering through the booths looking at stuff and looking at fun stuff. And maybe they'll say, oh, this would be a great gift for my grandson or for my kids or whatever. And so that's basically what I'm doing. Okay, let me answer a couple of questions that came in the last videos. This one's from Carrie. Well, I was curious how a novice like me goes about finding more information about a company or companies that can make a product out of an idea. For example, Lee and his tarot deck, if I wanted to take an illustration and make a puzzle. And so he's basically wanting to do exactly what I'm doing, which is, it's a long question, so I'm not going to read the rest, but it's basically like, he's like, if I use companies like Printify or Shutterfly or things like that, they're too expensive. Yes, they are. They are, and then they aren't. There's a time to use them, and so let me speak to that. And then he's wondering like, how does he find a good vendor out of China probably, or somewhere where he can get basically the best price. So this is a great question. I know a little bit about this because I am planning to make a puzzle. I got a price on a puzzle out of China. It was like $3 for a really nice puzzle and box and everything custom. I can do the custom artwork for the box. I can have my puzzle printed. I believe it was I think it's the size of the poster, 18 by 24. It's a decent sized puzzle for $3. I looked to try to test the market. My idea was, okay, well, I'm going to go to one of these companies like Printify, or there's like puzzlemaker.com, and I mean just all kinds of sites that will make you a puzzle, and they're geared to taking like a family photo and turning it into a puzzle, right? And the cheapest I could find was like $20 per unit for if you ordered like 20 or 50 of them or something like that. I saw some for 15, but they weren't. The box was tiny, and that's like useless to have a tiny little box like this. You can't use you need to use the box cover photo or image to solve the puzzle. So that didn't work. The more expensive ones, the really good ones, the ones that I wanted to go with, were like $30 a puzzle for like 50 puzzles. Well, what can you sell a puzzle for? $15-20. So they were geared to probably like companies that want to give them away at a party, or families who want to give them away as Christmas gifts. The print-on-demand puzzles, not an option for me to even test this market. So if I'm going to go in, I have to kind of go in big and just do a run of, I believe, to get that $3 price, I was looking at 3,000 puzzles, I think. I'll have to look at the quote on that. But it was a lot. And it's a gamble. It's a huge gamble. It was like $9,000. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 3,000 because it was going to be $9,000 to risk to find out whether or not people want a puzzle of the image that I created. I think they will. And at $3, it's a good enough price that I'd only have to sell, I think I figured, a fourth of those to break even, something like that, maybe a little bit less than that. So I might be doing that. But Carrie's question is, how do you find these companies? And from what I can tell, you can't find them online unless you're super lucky. The best way to find, like the print broker that I have out of Park City, Lauren, someone like that who has connections, is to approach artists and get their connection. Now, what I said before was I'm hesitant to give out Lauren's number because a lot of people called her when I did on my Little Heroes project, or on my What They Don't Teach in Art School project, and she ended up doing like 10 quotes, which are really expensive, take a lot of time, expensive for her on time, and she wasted like 2 or 3 days of her time, and nobody, none of those panned out. Nobody followed through with their book. So she doesn't want me to give out her number unless you're serious. So if you're really serious and you have money and you're ready to rock and roll and you've got your project done or almost done and you're really serious and you can prove you're serious, I'll give you her number. But that's what I would do, is I would look up people on, Kickstarter. I would contact people, like if you can go to a comic convention or any kind of convention, in my case a tournament or some place where there's a lot of vendors, and you see the kind of product that you're looking to produce, you ask where they got it, and a lot of people will tell you. I've had people tell me, I've asked people where they've gotten stuff before, and I've been given those leads, those vendors in China before. So that's what I would do there. And then the second question here is from Nada, and she says, I'm waiting for hardback to buy from you, and I'm so happy you decided to go for more than a standalone story. Maybe that can be a topic for next videos, how you think when creating a series from the very beginning, or whatever you find useful that you want to share. So yeah, and I touched on that just a little bit during the video about the series and why it's so important. But what I saw here was, so it was intentional to create, I could have called this book, what would I have called it instead of this? Like, I can't think on the fly. Some stupid title that doesn't have the name of the character in it, right? But I knew that I wanted to create a book series, and one of the best ways to do that is to name your character. So, like, Marjorie Kyler, she named our series Bonaparte. So it's Bonaparte. Oh man, I'm not going to clip that. Bonaparte falls apart, and Bonaparte plays ball. Sadly, I don't think we're going to get to do a third book in that series. I actually think that the fact that the second book was about baseball is probably what killed that series, that and COVID. I just don't think that kids like baseball as that much. I just don't think that, actually, it's probably the moms, because the moms are the ones typically, and grandmas, that buy the books more than anybody. That's the demographic that buys children's books. And they probably saw the baseball one and was like, my kid's not into baseball. It needed to be more generic. It needed to be more mass market, because the first one was more mass market, and to appeal to that same audience, I think it did. Not that there's anything wrong with doing children's baseball books, but you got to go all in on that, and you got to market to those people. You got to have a way to market to those people. Now, interestingly enough, I found out about this morning, that Bill found out that there is for the Phoenix. This is how bad I am. I can't remember what the Phoenix baseball team is, but at the stadium in April, they're going to have a pickleball day. So the people that are marketing pickleball right now are insane. They're doing all kinds of crazy celebrity exhibitions. They're doing stuff on TV, in mainstream TV. They're doing stuff with other sports. Many people have heard that a lot of the NBA players are buying pickleball teams right now. It's just blowing up. And so they're having a pickleball day at the baseball field, which we're going to go and have a booth there and sell books to, or try to sell books. We'll see. And I will share that in this video series as well. Anything that happens with this project, I'm going to share it in this video series, just to see where this thing goes, so that you guys can also see where it goes. I will have a day or a video where I will share the whole Amazon process. So that's coming up pretty soon. It might be the next video where I talk about and show the back office on how to set up your book on Amazon, how easy it was, the problem that I had with the Kindle book and stuff like that. And so that is about it. Again, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comment section. I'll copy and paste them into this Google Doc, and I'll share them with you on subsequent videos. And with that, please do not subscribe unless you want to see more stuff like this. And leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I really appreciate all the love and support that I've heard so far. I can tell there's a lot of people that are really interested in what I'm doing right now. And I really hope that I get to hear about some of you guys doing the same thing, finding some kind of a niche that you can, that is something that you're really passionate about, and that you can, design a project and reach the same audience that you're a part of. So anyway, take care, and I will see you on the next video.